What is up, guys? Back again with yet another one. I'm full of energy today. I think it's because I've had caffeine and I usually don't drink caffeine. So this is going to be a bit of a high energy video. So just expect that. However, what are we here for? We're here to talk about the top 5 stick shift vehicles to expect in 2023. So next year. Of course, some of these cars have already come out. Some of them are going to be coming out soon. However, I'm going to sort of walk you guys through some of the few available leftover manual transmission vehicles that we still have on the market, considering the fact that almost like the vast majority, I could probably, if I were to guess, probably 90+% of vehicles are automatic transmission. We have a few more vehicles left over that are going to be coming out next year, so I'm going to walk you guys through them. But first, if you guys are new here, definitely subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave a comment. Are you curious about buying a stick shift car? Do you own a car? Are you just curious about what the top 5 vehicles are? Either way, without further ado, let's start up the video. So we're going to start off with the Toyota Supra. So as far as the Toyota Supra goes, I've kind of made a few videos. Actually, there's a video of me getting a hands-on look at the Toyota Supra at a Toyota launch, which was however many years ago now. I'm going to link it in the top right corner, of course, so you guys can go check out what it looks like in person. Of course, we all know that the Supra took the BMW transmission. Initially, it did not have a stick shift option, which is absolutely crazy considering the fact that the Supra historically has been an iconic vehicle, mainly because it was a very racy manual transmission type vehicle, which offered the availability for you to, of course, modify it in different manners. After a bunch of complaints from a bunch of people, eventually the Supra came out with a manual transmission vehicle. So as far as the engine, it's going to be a 3-liter straight 6 engine, giving us 382 horsepower. Of course, as I mentioned, this manual transmission is only going to be available in the high-end version. The low-end version, which is the 2-liter, is not going to have it. So that's something to be mindful for if you're planning on getting the Supra. However, for the price that you're going to be paying, it's actually fairly decent because the stick shift Supra is only going to be costing around $50,000 and upwards from there. Again, depending on the modifications you get and all the add-ons and specifications that you want specific to what you're looking for in this vehicle. Now, moving on to the BMW M2, which is car numero dos. So in the case of the M2, it's probably one of the last BMW vehicles, at least of the M Sport models, where you still have stick shift options. And it's a bit sad to see because, I mean, you think of BMW and you think of like a very racy, sporty kind of vehicle, and you would naturally want to assume that it would come with a stick shift, like for example the M3s do, traditionally at least. In the case of this M2, however, it's one of the last ones that give you stick shift options, and regarding the specs, it is a twin turbo 3-liter inline 6 engine, giving us 450 horsepower. Additionally, it has carbon fiber options as far as the roof goes, for example, meaning it's going to be a lot lighter weight, and it has different seat options. Price-wise, we're yet to find out because this new M2 is just coming out. So again, definitely something to stay tuned for. Let me know if you guys are curious about the M2 in the comments below so I can know what video to make a follow-up on. And now moving on to the Nissan Z. I've sort of been touching on this car for a while now. Pause. And so for the Nissan Z, initially it was the 400Z, however, it's just going to be called the Nissan Z. I did a whole video where I talked about the history of the Nissan Z, so I'm really not going to touch on much of that right now. But as far as the specs of this car, again, it's a 3-liter turbocharged V6, giving us 400 horsepower. And of course, it's going to be costing around $40,000. And essentially the main job of this Nissan Z is to undercut the Supra, which is again the first car that I mentioned. And so of course the $40,000, they're just making it about $10,000 cheaper than the Supra. So I would assume that a lot of people who are interested in the Supra are going to look at the Nissan Z and be like, you know what, I think I'm actually going to get the Nissan Z instead. And of course that's something that I would do because, again, of course you know the story. I totaled my car and blah blah blah. There's a video about it. I'm not going to get into any detail about that right now, but eventually I'm going to be aggressively pursuing my next vehicle. It will be stick shift because my last car was stick shift, and it's more engaging, it's more fun, all of that. So I might actually be checking out this Nissan Z one of these days, one of these months maybe, when I start aggressively looking for vehicles. However, the price that it's at, it's definitely enticing. And so of course I had to add on one American muscle car. And in this case, we're going to be talking about the Chevy Camaro. Again, a lot of these cars I've actually touched on in prior videos. I made, again, a video comparing this Chevy Camaro with the new Ford Mustang. So like, I'm gonna really only be touching on a little bit of these vehicles because I have full-length videos talking about each of these vehicles, either comparing it to its predecessor or comparing it to a competitor. So as far as all these vehicles, there's much more content on my channel about them. But in the case of this American muscle car, we're looking at a 300 plus horsepower because the base is going to be 300. Again, it goes up from there. A turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. But the price is really what's very interesting because it's going to be in the high $20,000 range and low $30,000 range. And this is something that I find pretty admirable about American muscle cars, because your Mustangs, your Camaros, for the most part, they're actually pretty cheap. And of course, naturally, you're going to be getting one that's a base model, so it's very like dumbed down, it's very like regular, if you will. However, if you take the car from what it is, and maybe you can modify it on your own, and maybe you add on a few add-ons here and there, you're really still only going to be paying like mid 30,000s, maybe 40, maybe $50,000 range, depending on what exactly it is that you add on to this vehicle. But overall, price-wise, I would say it's a catch for sure, and it's something that we can be expecting in 2023. And last but not least, there's also a car that I really haven't spoken much about because we're sort of just finding out some information about it. So over the next couple of months, we're going to find out more. And it's the Mazda MX-5. It's a 2-liter engine vehicle. We don't know the specific engine specs, but we do know it's going to be lighter and sportier than its predecessor. So of course, with that, it's going to increase the level of handling. I'd assume the fact that it's lighter means it's going to be better on gas. So those are the best 5 Stickshift vehicles coming out in 2023. Of course, there are more coming out. However, these 5 are probably some of the most exciting ones that are going to be coming out in 2023. So definitely something to look forward to. But as far as the sporty 2-door manual transmission vehicles, that's all for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out the other videos that actually go into more depth about these 5 vehicles that I've touched on today. And if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.